Hey folks, hope you're doing good today. We're going to have a long one today because we've got 3 sludgy, doomy, long, drawn-out bands with long tracks. This first one's 11 minutes long. So get yourself comfy and sit back and relax, but we're going to get some heavy, heavy music today by the sounds of things. We're going to kick off with this first band. This is Marche Funèbre, I think is how you say it. When All Is Said is the track. Let's give it a spin. Nice fat sound, nice wide mix. Nice atmospheric leady stuff as well. Cool vocal. Yeah. Got a blackness to the vocal, real gravel in his throat. Working his throat. Every last bit of gravel in his throat. Hear that bass great in the mix all of a sudden. Sliding about the neck. These are the kind of sections where you need a super fat guitar tone to fill out the sound with just those big, long, drawn-out strums, so it stays nice and fat the whole time. And they've definitely done that in this mix. Vocals really nice. It's got a real clarity to it. You can really hear all of his throat vibrating and rattling about, and all the kind of saliva in his throat vibrating. It sits in the mix really nicely. Sometimes when your vocals got very clear and clarity element to it, it can be difficult to sit it with big distorted guitars because they're two different kinds of sounds. You know, it's like a clean sound next to a dirty sound. It's working very nicely in this one. I like that they've mixed it up with the energy. We've had these kind of sections with the double bass, which gives it a bit more energy, and then really drawn out sections as well. So they're taking us on a journey with the track. You've got to with an 11-minute track. Yeah, you've got to fill that time out. They've done it nicely. Ups and downs, drawn out bits, and bits with a bit more energy. Just keeps it interesting, you know. Trippy effect on this video. It's funny though, there's some sections where you can really hear the bass nicely, like this one. You can hear it doing its thing, you can hear its mids and rattle and kind of all the string rattle. And then there's other sections, like that big drawn-out guitar-y section I was talking about, where I couldn't really hear the bass as well in those sections. And you know me, I love to hear the bass. Everyone's got a great guitar tone nowadays. So the thing that makes you stand out in terms of the guitars is whether you can hear the bass, whether it's got its own tone within the mix. Whether it doesn't just support the guitars, it's actually got its own sound and doing its own thing within the mix. So I always look out for it. Now I will say, I don't know how long we've got left on the track now, but I think they could have wrapped it up by now, to be honest with you. Because it's not bringing anything new to the table now. You know, we're not moving off into a different direction or into a different energy or into a different sound. It's kind of, you know, repeating what we have had before now. So I think you want to wrap that up before people start thinking, man, we've heard this already. But I think we are coming towards the end now. This was a great track, great mix, great sound, moved around the energy nicely. I do think it was maybe a couple of minutes longer than it needed to be, just to keep it fresh and interesting, you know. I thought the last couple of minutes kind of, as I say, didn't really bring anything new to the table. But other than that, this was a 10 out of 10 song. Great vocal, great guitar tones, cool riffage, great drumming. The drummer moved the energy about nicely, bringing in and out the double bass and moving about on the cymbals and all that good stuff that I always talk about. It was nice to be able to hear the bass every so often, but I would like to hear it in the sections where I couldn't quite catch my ear on it as well as I could in the others. You know, there were some sections where you could really hear it nicely and it was doing runs. You can hear it, all the strings vibrating and all of that good stuff. And I love to hear that coming through in the mix, aside from having a great guitar tone, you know. But yeah, some sections I could really hear it nicely, and some sections it just kind of got a bit washed out in the guitars. But other than that, this was a great track. Quality, a lot going on really. Sludgy, doomy, post-metally, atmospheric as well. Got male as well. So yeah, a nice few edges going on. Blackness in the vocal as well. That was dope. The vocal was really very cool. Mail. We've got loads of mail apparently. Here we go. I'm going to have to turn that off. This is APNEA or Apnea. And their track is Resina. It's featuring Giuseppe Del Rey. And yeah, we're going to check this one out now. And this is another long one. This one's nearly 7 minutes long. And we've already been going 13. So this is going to be a long vid today because the next track's 6 minutes as well. But if you like this kind of music, you know, these bands are always 5+ minute tracks. It's to be expected. So let's check it out.
Non ti voltare, non scrivere. Non fare foto.
Love the energy in this one. Oh, Jesus. What the hell? These guys have got a great sound. Great mix as well, nice and wide, nice and loud. Dirty guitars, great vocals, sits nicely in the mix. Yeah, it's got a blackened edge to it, I would say. Black and sludgy doom. Dope.
È la più gloriosa arma che l'uomo stesso abbia mai inventato. Non porterò più addosso le insicurezze che ho creato. Impressi a fuoco sul mio volto, fin dal principio sfigurato. Non porterò più addosso le insicurezze che ho creato. Impresso a fuoco sul mio volto, fin dal principio sfigurato.
Cool passion in the vocal.
Le sicurezze che ho creato, impresso a fuoco sul mio corpo, fin dal principio deturbato.
I was hoping we weren't going to see that again. It's got a big sound. Sick. Friggin' loved it. And a great sound from start to finish. Nice intro. And then once we got going, that was it. Big washy cymbals, big dirty guitars, heavy vocals that sit in the mix, layered up as well. I just thought it sounded great. Just like a big wall of sound. Big, wide, loud mix as well. So no worries there. Dope. I really enjoyed it. I love this kind of music. Now we're going to finish off with this last band. This one's 8 minutes long, so we're going to be ages today, nearly half an hour. This is AstroFuzz. The track's called Dracula Lives. And I think these guys are maybe a bit more, as the name might suggest, AstroFuzz. Kind of maybe a bit more psychedelic and stuff like that. I don't know. Let's give them a spin.
Then you will go there tonight. The night of the dead.
They're dirty as hell. They got the fuzz part going. Yeah. nice distortion on that vocal. Absolute complete opposite to the first band who had a real clarity. This guy's fuzzed out to the max. Nice groove in the riffs. A lot of distortion on the vocal. It sits with the dirty low end guitar and bass really nice. It's sitting in the mix in a different place. It sounds great. When you got this much distortion and dirt going on, sometimes it just turns out in a big mess. They've done a good job. It's not super wide though. Each time it hits that low note, it sounds great. Yeah.
I think life's cycle terminates with death. And
Cool.
after that, well, there's nothing. It's the end. Nobody ever returns to the dead as if it was thought. I admit that I'm afraid. And I'm not afraid of the dead.
Yeah. Nice creepy organy synths. Gives it an atmosphere. Yeah. Here comes the psychedelic. Yeah. time they hit that low note. Sick. I friggin' love that. I've loved all the bands today. Now, when I set this video, we're going half an hour. I knew we were going to make it to at least half an hour today, which is a long video to watch. I mean, sometimes people don't make it to the end of a 5-minute video, let alone a half an hour one. But when I pulled these guys out the queue, I just thought, man, that is 3 dope bands by the sound of things, and they all sound like they kind of go together and have got the same kind of vibe and sound and dirty noise going on. And I was right, and I'm pleased that I did and kind of pulled them all out and have gone for the long video, because if you're into this music, that is 3 sick, dirty, heavy, doomy, sludgy, post-metally, blackened, all the good stuff going on in these bands today. Moving it around in different sections, more chilled out, atmospheric stuff, more double bassy, energetic stuff, heavy, crushing riffs, drawn out sections, and just a great tone to the whole music. Guitars have got a sick, dirty, that orange amp, breaking up, horrible tone that just sounds great. Bass as well. We had some great vocals in all 3 different vocals, from clean with the dude with a super gravelly throat, but recorded very clean and with a lot of clarity, because he didn't need a bunch of distortion on his vocal. He had the distortion in his throat, natural distortion. And then the next band had more distortion and were dirtier and more buried in the mix. And then this last band just fuzzed out to the max, but had a great place in the mix for the vocal. I love the vocal style as well in this one. Brought through that kind of, when you hear AstroFuzz, you expect it to be kind of a bit out there, astroing, a bit cosmic. And I thought the vocal was a bit cosmic. And then that solo was one of the dopest solos we've had on the channel. It was a bit kind of Jimi Hendrix, stoned out your mind, on mushroomed out your mind. But that's why it was so great as well, because it went with this kind of music. Now, it was interesting how loud it was compared to the rest of the mix, but it kind of caught you off guard initially. But once you heard how cool the solo was and how cool it sounded, and then it all started to break up and go crazy, you didn't care, because you were just locked into the great sound of the solo. So yeah, that was really dope. But it was just a bit jarring when it came in, and then when it went out again, because we kind of went, it was a very different volume to the rest of the mix, basically. But man, that is 3 super dope bands. I've really, really enjoyed this. I want to get more long, drawn-out, doomy tracks on the channel, even if they take up half an hour of our time, because it's worth it, It's worth the invested time to check these kind of bands out. Absolutely sick. Hope you've enjoyed that today, guys. That's going to be it. You've had enough of me already. So there you go. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.